Number two, poor digestion of even foods that we're consuming that we're have an allergenicity to, an immune response to, is a big deal as well. So the more we can break that allergen down, makes it easier for our gut to process it.
And why is that process failing though? See, that's the thing that people don't get. It's like, okay, I'm eating good. Why am I still having these issues?
Well, because if a food is naturally inflammatory for you or creates a stress response in your body, that stress response is going to make it harder for you to make enough enzymes or acid to be able to process the food to begin with. So we have to just know that that may be an issue and combat it with more enzymes. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's just kind of like, there are certain foods that are like, we call it like an intolerance. Like an intolerance is a lactose intolerance where maybe you can't break down that sugar in milk, i.e. lactose, but if we give you more enzymes, the lactase enzyme, you can handle it. So it may not necessarily be an allergen issue. It may be an intolerance issue, and it may be a combination of the two, because the more intolerant you are to something, the larger that molecule is in your gut, and the greater chance that that thing will then, now there'll be an immune reaction to it because we weren't able to break it down into like a peptide type of form, a really small form, if you will.
Yeah, and what you're saying without directly saying it is there's like a spectrum of reaction. So it could be just a very, very minor, quote, food intolerance or food sensitivity. And then you go all the way up to like straight allergic reaction, where after you eat the eggs, you've got the gallbladder pain, you've got the sniffles, you've got the headache, So in between that spectrum, of course, there's other root causes beneath. So it's not just the eggs that you blame. Then you have to investigate the gut and figure out, well, is the gut compromised with some sort of infection? You mentioned the enzymes. Well, why? Why is there not enough enzymes in the first place? Is this just age? Is it not chewing the food enough? Is it that they were stressed while they were eating? They're like scrolling on Instagram while they're trying to eat their meal. What the heck is going on?
The food in itself is stressful. So yeah, so the easiest first thing to do is just get more enzymes and acids in and make sure you're chewing your food up well and you control the stress in the environment. Those are the first 2 to 3 things. And then from there, if we still have problems, then we can, of course, start cutting or paring back foods or just trying to cook the foods better. People forget that the reason why we cook foods, and part of the reason that our brains evolved, is through fire. We were able to cook, imagine eating like raw flesh. Very hard to digest that and process that. As soon as you start cooking it with fire, you're able to start pre-digesting a lot of that food. And that food then makes it more accessible to your gut and to your brain and to all of your organ systems. So just by cooking that food up better, using an Instapot or steaming those vegetables or, sauteing it, you access more nutrition. Like if you look at if you go to like My Food Data or you go to the US Department of Health, where they look at nutrition, like nutrients in food. And if you just compared the nutrients in raw broccoli to cooked broccoli, the nutrients actually go higher in cooked broccoli. Why? It's because we can actually access those nutrients. We can access them. That's the difference.
Yeah, it's an activator.